back and relax, and I hope you enjoy these. I'm going to try to talk a little bit slower. I talk very fast, and I think especially when I'm reading these facts, I talk really, really fast, and so I'm gonna try to talk slower, but we'll see if I live up to that. So, the first category we're gonna do today, I thought would be fitting for an ASMR video, and it is going to be facts about sleep. Facts about sleep. Alright, let's get started. By 60 years of age, 60% of men and 40% of women will snore. While snores average around 60 decibels, the noise level of normal speech, they can reach more than 80 decibels. 80 decibels is as loud as the sound of a pneumatic drill breaking up concrete, and noise levels over 85 decibels are considered hazardous to the human ear, otherwise known as my dad's snoring. Snoring can be a sign of sleep apnea, a life-threatening sleep disorder. As many as 10% of people who snore have sleep apnea. Sleep apnea can cause people to stop breathing as many as 300 times every night and can lead to a stroke or a heart attack. The longest time a human being has gone without sleep is 11 days and 25 minutes. The world record was set by American 17-year-old Randy Gardner in 1963. On average, humans sleep 3 hours less per night than other primates. Chimps, rhesus monkeys, and baboons sleep 10 hours per night. When we sleep, we drift between rapid eye movement sleep and non-REM sleep in alternating 90-minute cycles. Non-REM sleep starts with drowsiness and proceeds to deeper sleep, during which it's harder to be awakened. During REM sleep, our heart rates increase, our breathing becomes irregular, our muscles relax, and our eyes move rapidly beneath our eyelids. REM sleep was initially discovered years before the first studies that monitored brain waves overnight were conducted in 1953. Though scientists didn't understand its significance at first. Studies have shown that our bodies experience diminished capacity after we've been awake for just 17 hours. We behave as if we are legally drunk. After 5 nights with too little sleep, we actually get intoxicated twice as fast. During their first year, babies cause between 400 and 750 hours of sleep loss for parents. A newborn, 0 to 3 months, needs 16 and a half hours of sleep every day. Infants age 4 to 11 months need about 12 to 15 hours of sleep per day. Toddlers 1 to 2 years need 11 to 14 hours of sleep. Preschoolers age 3 to 5 need 10 to 13 hours, and the average adult needs 7 to 9 hours of sleep per day. Some adults, called short sleepers, naturally require less than 6 hours of sleep at night. At the other extreme are long sleepers who need 9 or more hours of sleep per night. There is no evidence that seniors need less sleep than younger adults. If you average 8 hours of sleep a night, of my life. Isn't that crazy to think about? During sleep, the body manufactures a hormone that prevents movement, which is why you don't actually act out your dreams. At least 10% of people sleepwalk at least once in their life. Men are more likely to sleepwalk than women. Sleepwalking occurs most commonly in middle childhood and pre-adolescence, and it often lasts into adulthood. When we sleep, our bodies cool down. Body temperature and sleep are closely related. Most people sleep best in moderate temperatures. Caffeine can overcome drowsiness, but it actually takes about 30 minutes before its effects kick in, and they are only temporary. Our eventual need for sleep is due in part to two substances the body produces, adenosine and melatonin. While we're awake, the level of adenosine in the body continues to rise, signaling a shift towards sleep. While we sleep, the body breaks down adenosine. When it gets dark, the body releases the hormone melatonin, which prepares the brain and body for sleep and helps us feel drowsy. Most people average about 4 dreams per night, each lasting roughly 20 minutes. People reaching 80 years old will have had approximately 131,400 dreams in their lifetime. Most people take about 6 seconds to yawn. If you see someone yawn, there's a 55% chance you'll also yawn within 5 minutes. There's a 65% chance you'll start yawning soon just because you've been reading about yawning. I actually kind of feel a yawn coming on. Let me know if you do too. A study from 2003 found that 18% of people surveyed never or rarely dreamed in color. In 1942, as many as 71% never or rarely dreamed in color. Brain waves are actually more active during dreams than they are when a person is awake. Very interesting. Our next facts are going to be about animals, and today we have spider facts. Facts about spiders. Spiders are arachnids, not insects. Unlike insects, spiders cannot fly. After they hatch, spiderlings drift away on silk string. This first flight is called ballooning. Some young spiderlings have been seen ballooning at altitudes of 10,000 feet. Studies have shown that jumping spiders can solve simple 3D puzzles. Jumping spiders also learn the behavior patterns of other spiders in order to capture them. The fisher or raft spider can walk on water. When it detects prey, insects, or tiny fish under the surface, it can quickly dive to capture its dinner. Male spiders are almost always smaller than the females and are often much more colorful. It is estimated that up to 1 million spiders live in 1 acre of land. In the tropics, that number might be closer to 3 million. Some spiders live underwater all of their lives. They surface to collect a bubble of air, which acts as as an underwater lung. Male spiders are unique among all animals in having a secondary copulatory organ. While most spiders live for a year or two, certain tarantulas can live for 20 years or longer. Spiders eat more insects than birds and bats combined. Some species of spiders have evolved to mimic ants in appearance and pheromones, which they use to prey on the ants. The body of a typical spider has approximately 600 silk glands. Spider silk is more flexible than nylon, and in some cases stronger than steel and Kevlar. All spiders secrete silk from their abdomens. Tarantulas can also shoot silk from their feet. Most spiders are nearsighted. To compensate, they rely on their body hair to feel their way around and to detect nearby animals. While most spiders have 8 eyes, some have fewer, though always an even number. The world's most venomous spider is the male Sydney funnel-web spider, Atrax robustus. The female is far less dangerous, being 4 to 6 times less effective than the male. The black widow is North America's most venomous spider. Pretty cool. Trying to see if I already did the category before this. I don't remember if I did these amphibian facts, but I guess I'll do them. I don't know if I've done them before. Amphibians live both on land and in water. Amphibian comes from a Greek term meaning double life. Amphibians include frogs and toads, salamanders and newts, and worm-like caecilians. The largest caecilians grow more than 5 feet in length. Axolotls are rare amphibians that live in Central American lakes. All amphibians have gills, some only as larvae, and others for their entire lives. The largest amphibian in the world is the Chinese giant salamander, which can grow up to 6 feet long. The world's smallest amphibian is the Paedophyrn ammonensis, a frog from Papua New Guinea measuring just 0.3 inches in length. Amphibians are found everywhere in the world except Antarctica. Some salamanders can regrow entire limbs and regenerate parts of major organs. At about 4 weeks old, tadpoles get a bunch of very tiny teeth, which help them turn their food into mushy, oxygenated particles. Frogs swallow their food whole. The size of what they can eat is determined by the size of their mouth and their stomach. While swallowing, a frog's eyeballs retreat into its head, applying pressure that helps push food down its throat. Some frogs glow after eating fireflies. When frogs aren't near water, they will often secrete mucus to keep their skin moist. Lovely. Love that. Okay, next is facts about planet Earth, and we are going to be doing territories span 7 countries. South America has 12 independent countries. 2 territories in South America are still administered by European powers. French Guiana is France and the Falkland Islands of the United Kingdom. Easter Island, a Chilean territory, is some 2,300 miles from the coast of South America. Brazil is the largest country in South America and in the southern hemisphere, with a total of 3,287,957 square miles. Colombia has coastline on both the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. The Galapagos, a volcanic chain of islands belonging to Ecuador, is home to the world's only marine iguanas. Suriname is the smallest country in South America. Both North and South America are named after Italian explorer Amerigo Vespucci. Guyana has up to 300 species of catfish. That's a lot of catfish. Ecuador is the most densely populated country in South America, with 135 people per square mile. The Pantanal region of South America is the world's largest freshwater wetland. It is almost 10 times the size of the Florida Everglades. The potato originates in South America. The Amazon River runs through South America and is surrounded by the world's largest rainforest. The world's highest gas pipeline tops out at over 16,077 feet in the Peruvian Andes. The world's largest river basin is that drained by the Amazon. The Andean condor has a wingspan of up to 10 feet 10 inches, one of the largest wingspans of any bird. La Paz, Bolivia has the world's highest administrative capital at 11,942 feet above sea level. The Incas were the largest group of indigenous people in South America. The Incan Empire lasted from 1438 until 1533. Brazil's men's soccer team boasts the most World Cup wins, with 5 titles. Cerro Aconcagua, an Andean peak in Argentina, is South America's highest point. Brazil shares a border with every other South American country except Chile and Ecuador. Uruguayan cowboys are called gauchos. Spanning the border between Peru and Bolivia, Lake Titicaca is South America's largest lake at 3,200 square miles. Impossible to say without laughing. Argentina's president works in a pink building called the Casa Rosada. Venezuela's Angel Falls is the world's highest waterfall. The main free-falling segment is almost 20 times higher than Niagara Falls. Argentina and Chile share South America's largest island, Tierra del Fuego. The southernmost city in the world is Ushuaia, located on the Argentinian part of the Tierra del Fuego. Brazil is the most populous South American country. Overlooking Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, stands a colossal statue of Jesus Christ called Christ the Redeemer, the world's largest Art Deco-style sculpture. Suriname is the least populous South American country. Chile is a narrow strip on the southwestern edge of South America. Built by an Inca ruler between 1460 and 1470, Machu Picchu reveals the Incas' skills as stonemasons. The Atacama Desert in Chile is the world's driest non-polar desert. Parts of the central desert area regularly go without rain for years at a time. Approximately half of South America's population lives in Brazil. The ancient kingdom of Tiwanaku was a major Indian civilization in the Andes Mountains of South America. Aztec Emperor Montezuma is said to have drunk 50 goblets of chocolate flavored with chili peppers every day. The world's widest road is Brazil's monumental axis. It could hold 160 cars side by side. Wow. Alright. Next. Let's do a different one. Let's do our food category. And we are going to do facts about pizza. Antica Pizzeria Porta Alba in Naples, Italy, is believed to be the world's first pizzeria. First established as a stand in 1738, the restaurant opened in 1830. Italian pizza was originally square-shaped. Today we call this Sicilian cut. It also used Romano cheese before switching to mozzarella. The first pizzeria in the United States was opened by Gennaro Lombardi in 1895 in New York City. Pepperoni is the most popular pizza topping in the U.S. Americans consume more than 251 million pounds of pepperoni annually. The Hawaiian pizza topped with pineapple and ham was invented in 1962 by a restaurant in Canada. Held annually in Las Vegas, the Pizza Expo is the largest pizza-only trade show. Chicago deep dish pizza puts the sauce on top of the cheese. October is officially designated National Pizza Month in the United States. Philadelphia's Pizza Brain is a half restaurant, half museum. It offers a large collection of pizza-related items and pizza varieties from around the world. YouTuber Arak and Pizza Hut teamed up in January 2023 to make the world's largest pizza. It covered a colossal 13,990 square feet and was made using 13,653 pounds of dough. I'm not going to read all the other numbers of how much marinara sauce, cheese, and pepperoni. You get it, it was a lot. Approximately 3 billion pizzas are sold in the United States every year, plus an additional 1 billion frozen pizzas. The Celentano brothers invented is the most popular one in the US, but in India it's pickled ginger, minced mutton, and paneer. In Russia it's makba, a combination of sardines, tuna, mackerel, salmon, and onions. In Brazil it's green peas. In Japan it's eel and squid. In France, it's flambé, bacon, onion, and fresh cream. In Pakistan, it's curry. In Australia, it's shrimp, pineapple, and barbecue sauce. In Costa Rica, it's coconut. In the Netherlands, it's double Dutch, double meat, double cheese, double onion. Okay. Interesting. Alright. Next, we are going to do facts about popular toys and games. Bingo started sometime around 1929 as Beano. A smart entrepreneur named Edwin Lowe spotted a crowd playing Beano at a fair and ran with the idea. The first boxed Stratego set in the US came out in 1961. An ancient Chinese game called Jungle or Animal Chess very much resembles Stratego, and a French woman patented its modern incarnation in 1910. A barber from Ohio invented the popular all-ages card game Uno in 1969. Creator Merle Robbins sold Uno to a game company in 1972 for $50,000 plus royalties. Mike Marshall created the Hacky Sack, a version of the foot bag, in 1972 to help his friend John Stahlberger rehabilitate an injured leg. Enrico Rubik introduced his puzzle cube in 1974. It became popular in the 1980s, confounding millions of people worldwide with its 43 quintillion solutions. In the early 1940s, a torsion spring fell off marine engineer Richard James' desk and tumbled end over end across the floor. Since then, more than 250,000,000 Slinkies have been sold worldwide. The Milton Bradley Company released Twister in 1966. It was the first game in history to use the human body as an actual playing piece. The Super Soaker water gun was invented in 1988 by aerospace engineer Lonnie Johnson. Silly Putty was developed in 1943 when James Wright, a General Electric researcher, was seeking a synthetic rubber substitute. Silly Putty debuted as a toy in 1950. Mr. Potato Head, with his interchangeable facial features, was patented in 1952. Mr. Potato Head was the first toy to be advertised on television. For the first 8 years, patents had to supply children with a real potato until a plastic potato body was included in 1960. Oh, parents had to supply children, not patents. I don't know why I read that wrong. Intending to create a wallpaper cleaner, Joseph and strawberry shortcake was created in 1977 by Muriel Farian for American Greetings. The company expanded the toy line in the 1980s to include Strawberry's friends and their pets. Xavier Roberts was a teenager when he launched his Babyland General Hospital during the 1970s in Cleveland, Georgia, allowing children to adopt a baby. In 1983, the Coleco Toy Company started mass producing these dolls as Cabbage Patch Kids. All of those were like very old toys. Yeah. I don't think I've ever played with hardly any of those, but that's okay. Let's see what we are going to do next. I guess we are going to do some exoplanet facts. An exoplanet is any planet outside our solar system. There are billions of them, maybe as many as there are stars. As of January 2023, there are more than 5,295 confirmed exoplanets. Many of those planets have been discovered by TESS, the Transiting Exoplanet Survey Satellite. Most planets, as in our solar system, orbit a star. Those that do not are known as rogue, nomad, or sunless planets. The first exoplanets were discovered in the 1990s. 51 Pegasi b, a gas giant 50 light years from Earth, was discovered in 1995. It was the first confirmed exoplanet. Only a few exoplanets can be seen by telescopes. Most are determined when people spot stars getting dimmer because the planet passes in front of it, or when a star's light changes in certain ways. Exoplanets are divided into gas giants like Jupiter, Neptune-like, super-Earth, and terrestrial. Some gas giant exoplanets, including 51 Pegasi b, are larger than Jupiter. In 2017, NASA announced the discovery of 7 Earth-sized planets orbiting around a star. Next, we are going to do some facts about the Colosseum. The Colosseum was one of the greatest buildings in the ancient city of Rome, at the heart of the powerful Roman Empire. Construction began under Emperor Vespasian in 72 AD and was completed in 80 AD by his successor and heir Titus. Romans celebrated in 80 AD with 100 days of inaugural games that included the slaying of 9,000 wild animals, noonday executions, and gladiatorial brawls that usually ended in death. What a celebration. Travertine stone was used to make up much of the exterior of the elliptical building. The arena floor was made of wooden planks supported by the brick walls of the cellars underneath. Sand, which was good for absorbing blood, was scattered across the arena floor. Wild animals that fought in the Colosseum were kept in cellars underneath the floor. When it was time for the Colosseum had 80 entrances and could hold more than 50,000 roaring Romans thirsty for a gruesome battle. Seats near the front were for the rich and powerful, while regular people sat farther back. The emperor had his own box. There were more than 20 different types of gladiators, each with different weapons and armor. Most gladiators were slaves or criminals who trained in special schools. Bestiari fought wild animals to entertain the public. Wild beast fights usually took place just prior to fights between gladiators. Exotic animals were brought to the Colosseum from all over the Roman Empire. A secutor or chaser was a close combat fighter. His traditional opponent was the retiarius. The most lightly armed gladiator, the retiarius, had to rely on speed and agility to escape his opponent. The retiarius carried a 3-pronged spear and a weighted net. Roman audiences loved watching the retiarius fight slower, more heavily armed opponents. The hoplomachus was one of the most heavily armored gladiators, with a large helmet and thick coverings over his arms and legs. His fighting style was based on the warriors of ancient Greece. The Colosseum measures 612 feet long, 151 feet wide, and 157 feet high, making it the world's largest amphitheater. Pretty cool. Okay, next we are going to do some facts about earthquakes. Earthquakes occur when a fault where Earth's tectonic plates meet slips, releasing energy in waves that move through the ground. Earth has 16 tectonic plates. Earthquakes occur almost continuously. Fortunately, most are undetectable by humans. An estimated 500,000 earthquakes are detected in the world each year. Scientists measure earthquake magnitude based upon the amount of energy released by the rock movements. An earthquake with a Richter magnitude of 2 is about the smallest earthquake that can be felt by humans without the aid of instruments. The highest magnitude earthquake ever recorded, a 9.5, was centered off the coast in Chile in 1960. Seismographs recorded seismic waves that traveled all around Earth for days after the Chilean earthquake. More earthquakes occur in Alaska than in any other U.S. state. The San Andreas Fault, an 800-mile fracture in Earth's crust that stretches along the California coast, moves at the same rate your fingernails grow, about 2 inches per year. If that rate keeps up, scientists project that Los Angeles and San Francisco will be adjacent to one another in approximately 15 million years. Shifting tectonic plates will someday cause the Horn of Africa to break apart from the rest of the continent. Moonquakes are earthquakes on the moon. Antarctica has ice quakes, which are little earthquakes within the ice sheet. between the San Francisco Giants and the Oakland Athletics by 10 days. The most powerful tremor in U.S. history, lasting 3 minutes and measuring 9.2 on the Richter scale, struck Prince William Sound in Alaska in 1964. The December 2004 9.1 magnitude earthquake that struck off the coast of the Indonesian island of Sumatra and the tsunami that followed killed at least 230,000 people. Scientists say the tremor was so strong that the December 26, 2004 Indonesian quake wobbled Earth's rotation on its axis by almost an inch. The swimming pool at the University of Arizona Tucson lost water from sloshing caused by the 1985 earthquake in Mexico, 1,240 miles away. Alaska experiences about 60 earthquakes per day. On February 6, 2023, a magnitude 7.8 earthquake struck parts of Turkey and Syria and killed at least 57,000 people. That is a lot of people. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's see. We are now going to do some Star Wars facts. Released in 1977, the first Star Wars movie cost just over $11 million to make, compared to $113 million for Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith in 2005, produced nearly 30 years later. Sorry that my camera keeps flashing. I don't know why it does that. In the late 1990s, remastering and re-editing Star Wars for its 20th anniversary edition cost nearly as much as it did to make the original movie. The first U.S. theater run for the original Star Wars pulled in $215 million. The first ever Star Wars trailer began showing a full 6 months before the movie came out. Vague taglines such as "The story of a boy, a girl, and a universe," and "A billion years in the making" were meant to build up buzz before the film's debut. The first Star Wars film was originally going to be titled The Star Wars, but George Lucas decided to drop the introductory article. The movie's full title, Star Wars Episode 4: A New Hope, was not used on posters, promotions, or publicity until the film was released in 1981. George Lucas was initially set to receive about $165,000 for the making of Star Wars. But when production costs rose, he waived his fee in exchange for 40% of the box office returns. That, combined with a lucrative merchandising deal and his foresight into snagging creative control and full merchandising rights for the sequels, made him millions. The filmmaker who directed Scarface co-wrote the opening crawl text at the beginning of Star Wars. Brian De Palma helped pin the words, "It is a period of civil war. Rebel spaceships striking from a hidden base have won their first victory against the evil Galactic Empire." persistent problem throughout the shoot. After Harrison Ford tested for the part of Han Solo, he had the edge for the role, though early in the project, Lucas had decided he didn't want to use anyone he had directed in the past. The potential candidate list included Kurt Russell and Christopher Walken, among others. Jodie Foster and Cindy Williams auditioned for the role of Princess Leia, along with Linda Pearl, Terry Nunn, and many others. Foster and Nunn were rejected because they were under 18. The character of Luke Skywalker went through many incarnations during script development. In the original treatment for the Star Wars script, which was written in 1973, Luke Skywalker was a general assigned to protect a rebel princess. In a later version, his name was Kane Starkiller, and he was a half-man, half-machine character who is friends with Han Solo. Later, he evolved into the young man closer to the character we are familiar with, but his name was Luke Starkiller. Just before shooting began, Lucas decided that the name might remind people of murderers like Charles Manson, who is literally responsible for killing stars, so the name was changed to Luke Skywalker. The stormtroopers' weapon in Star Wars were retooled military weapons from the 1940s. Next, we are going to do facts about music, which I think might be our last category. We'll see how long it takes. An ancient bone flute found at a Neanderthal cave site in Slovenia is thought to be at least 50,000 years old, making it the oldest known musical instrument. It's carved from the femur of a cave bear. There are 8 notes on the musical scale. Elvis Presley's Don't Be Cruel /Hound Dog was the best-selling single in the 1950s. Simon and Garfunkel first formed under the name Tom and Jerry after the cartoon characters. Buddy Holly's real name was Charles Buddy Holly. Decca Records misspelled his last name on his original recording contract, and he decided to just stick with it for the E-free version. Oh, stick with the E-free version. His original name had an E in Holly, and they misspelled it, and he just kept it. Ludwig van Beethoven is one of the most influential composers of all time. He ultimately lost his hearing, but continued to compose, conduct, and perform. The Beatles' I Want to Hold Your Hand was the top-selling single of the 1960s. Harry Belafonte was the first black male singer to top the British music charts. Thomas Silkman changed 226 guitar strings in a single hour on April 20th, 2018, setting the world record. Singer Farrah Franklin, best known for her stint in the hit group Destiny's Child, actually has the middle name Destiny. Pink Floyd has put out many albums, but only one band member has played on every single one, drummer Nick Mason. Bagpipes are thought to have been first used in ancient Egypt. The Beatles' classic Yesterday initially had the words scrambled eggs in its chorus until Paul McCartney came up was written about Motley Crue frontman Vince Neil. The inspiration for Duran Duran's Hungry Like the Wolf came from Little Red Riding Hood. The rock and roll classic Johnny B. Good, written by Chuck Berry, originally contained the controversial lyric, "That little colored boy can play." Oh God. It was later changed to "That little country boy can play." Michael Jackson's 1982 Thriller is the best-selling album of all time, with 70 million copies sold. Marvin Gaye's hit single, "I Heard It Through the Grapevine," is a cover. Smokey Robinson and the Miracles recorded it first. Katy Perry made her debut with gospel album Katie Hudson. Pop group ABBA's name is merely an acronym formed from the first letters of each member's first name. I Will Survive was originally slated to be a B-side for Gloria Gaynor's single Substitute. In 1992, child rappers Criss Cross wore their clothes backward to get attention for their single Jump. It must have worked because the song went to #1. The late conductor George Solti holds the record for the most Grammy Awards in any genre, with 31. Bruce Springsteen's 1984 album Born in the USA was rather fittingly the first compact disc ever made in the United States. Think Creedence Clearwater Revival is a strange name. The band was performing as the Gollywogs before that. Baroque composer Johann Sebastian Bach had eye surgery at age 65. Traveling surgeon John Taylor performed the cataract couching procedure. Post-op, Taylor gave the composer eye drops containing pigeon blood, mercury, and pulverized sugar. Bach died shortly after. Taylor went on to botch eye surgery on composer George Friedrich Handel. Freddie Mercury was the lead singer of Queen and the otherworldly voice behind such iconic hits as Bohemian Rhapsody and Somebody to Love. Mercury announced to the press that he had AIDS just one day before he died of the disease in 1991. ABBA turned down a $1 billion offer to reunite. Singer and pianist Tori Amos was expelled from the prestigious Peabody Conservatory Music School in Baltimore when she was 11 years old. Apparently, she hated to read sheet music. The best-selling pop music duo in history is Hall and Oates. Karaoke means empty orchestra in Japanese. Elvis got an unimpressive C grade in his junior high music class. The Beatles' anthem, "A Day in the Life," ends with a high-pitched whistle that no human could possibly hear, although a dog could. In 2021, Taylor Swift became the first female artist to win the Album of the Year Grammy 3 times. Wolfie was the nickname of composer Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. A rare But these videos make me so tired. I think it's because I talk so freaking fast. I tried to talk slower, I really did, but my voice gets really tired from like talking so much. And I don't know if it's just the like voice I use or like I don't know, but my throat gets really tired from it, and I don't breathe enough. So those videos always make me really tired. I think with trivia and personal questions, I get more pauses, more time to relax. So yeah, I'm very tired, and I'm gonna go drink some water and stop filming for a little bit. But thank you guys for watching. Let me know what your favorite fact was. And yeah, I will see you next time. So I'm sorry I'm like out of it, but I will see you next time, everybody. So sleep